Hello, a very warm welcome to sunny Pottersfields Park. What a setting for all the fighters from Dillian Whyte and Oscar Rivas' big show on Saturday night to take to this very ring for their open workouts this afternoon. I am not sure this is actually work. We're in the sunshine. Does it get any better? Johnny Nelson, Matt Macklin.
Well, I thought it was a nightmare because I got dropped off on London Bridge Road and I thought this isn't the scenic setting I was told.
Did you think we were inside today?
Yeah, I thought it was inside. What a great turnout.
It makes a change, doesn't it, Matt?
Yeah, I was just going to say, there's no pleasing you, Anna. If it was windy and raining and cold, you'd be moaning. Now it's beautiful sunshine and you're moaning. Just no pleasing you.
I am not moaning. I just hope we've all got our SPF sunscreen on this afternoon. We are in for a real treat on Saturday night. Dillian Whyte, he's not a man to take easy fight. He doesn't ever take the easier option, does he?
You know what, I think either way, Dillian's going to regret Saturday night's choice because it's going to be a hard night's work for him, and to people in the trade, myself, are thinking, why are you taking such a risk? If he loses for obvious reasons, but Rivas is no pushover. This guy could easily be a world title contender, and nobody would question his credentials, his pedigree. The guy can fight for fun, and Dillian knows that. I saw him in Loughborough when he was working out, and he knows this guy's going to be putting pressure on him.
Why do you think it is? Why doesn't he take an easy option? Because he's certainly earned it.
I think there's a few things. I think he's a real fighter. He backs up what he says. He's not all talk. He talks the talk, but he walks the walk. He takes these fights where you could say he's rolling the dice. He's come out and won them, and he's enhanced his reputation. But they were definitely losable fights. You know, they were difficult fights. You know, the Chisora one, he was down on the cards. He had to pull it out the bag. Joseph Parker, if that fight had gone another 30 seconds. Who not? You know, maybe Joseph Parker would have won that fight. You know, now he's fighting an undefeated guy in Oscar Rivas, who's an Olympian, big puncher as well. Really fancies it. He's been dying for this opportunity. So, you know, Dillian Whyte, he believes in himself. I think is the first reason. Secondly, I think, and he won't admit this, but I think he should have took the Joshua fight back in April when he was offered it. He didn't. He turned it down. Jarrell Miller took it. He was holding out for a fight maybe with Wilder. And, you know, it's one of those things. I'm going to say he should have took the fight. But if he goes mandatory after Saturday night, then he'll say, well, that's why I did it. So I think fundamentally he believes in himself and he's prepared to prove it.
All right, OK, we've got plenty to discuss, haven't we? Right, let's get straight to these open workouts then. Over to MC David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to Potter's Field here in London, England for the official workout for the incredible night of boxing action that we have taking place at the iconic O2 Arena here in London, England. All of the action we brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. We're sponsored by William Hill, JD Sports, StubHub, and Val. All the action will be broadcast live around the world, exclusively here in the UK on Sky Sports Box Office, and exclusively streamed in the United States on DAZN. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an incredible fight card on Saturday. 4 big heavyweight fights, 9 fights in total, 4 title fights. It's absolutely an incredible night of action with a lot of 50-50s, and we're going to go ahead and get this open workout started with our first fighter. He's making his way from Zagreb, Croatia. He had his very first fight last week in Rome, second-round knockout. Please welcome the Croatian Charge, Alen Babic. He's with his trainer, Mark Tibbs.
Yeah, so it is Alen Babic, Morgan Dassault, Fabio Wardley and Mariano Strunz. They get our Facebook coverage underway on Saturday night. That is from 5 o'clock, and then Charlie Duffield gets our live coverage underway from 6 p.m. on Saturday night. Warm conditions, Matt, for this afternoon's workout.
Yeah, very warm. If you needed to lose weight, this would be ideal. Put a sweatsuit on in this heat, you're going to shed a few pounds, absolutely. But very much a heavyweight theme here, so that's not really the case. But yeah, no, beautiful setting.
Alen Babic, Morgan, so what are you looking to see, Jonathan?
You know, this is the character I saw sparring with Dillian up in Loughborough. and Dillian said he's an absolute nightmare. And it's not what people say about you to your face, it's what they say about you behind your back. And this guy here, everybody in the gym was rating him massively.
Why?
Pace strong.
Why? What makes him so good?
Good pace, tough, hungry. The array of shots he throws, he just doesn't stop when he gets hit. He licks his lips and he wants more to get stuck back in again. Dylan's singing high praises for this young man. He thinks this guy is something special, and he needed somebody that emulated Rivas, and that was the closest pick he could get to it.
Yeah, I haven't seen him box, but I've heard good reports, heard the ring talk, the gym talk, that he's been really raising eyebrows in the gym, sparring, kind of building his reputation. So I'm really looking forward to watching him fight here on Saturday night.
It also shows the fact that he was brought in for sparring for Dillian Whyte, and what an opportunity that is for fighters to shine.
That's the best way to learn your trade. And I'll tell you that I did that six years in Germany doing that. Improved me as a fighter massively. It gave me such an insight, such confidence when I was sparring with, as a sparring partner for the best at my level. And it brings you on, brings your confidence on. And you can't think, I cannot prepare any better for anybody. If I'm employed by a guy that's potentially world champion and he wants me to work with him, in my head and in Bab's head, he'll be thinking, you're my sparring partner. So confidence-wise, he'll be right up there, and it's a good way to step into such a fight, a second professional fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with Johnny more. I remember years ago sparring Ricky Hatton, and it was massive for me because it enhanced me. You're in there with guys that are above you, that you're aspiring to be on that level, and you learn so much. Of course, you get experience in the fights, but you learn so much in the gym. And you know, he's only 1-0, and he's fighting a guy, Dillian Whyte, who's world class, should have had a world title shot already by now. And not only does he get to develop because of that experience, but you get to enhance your reputation. Because you know, we talk, Anna, boxers talk, managers talk, promoters, everyone in the boxing circles, people speak to each other, and he's, you know, created a good reputation for himself. He's obviously performed really well in those sparring sessions. He's on the card on Saturday night. It's a great platform for him to show us what he's been doing in the gym. So it's when you get the opportunity to take those sparring sessions, you have to take them.
We'll just pause for David right now.
Just fought last Thursday in Rome's second round knockout. Can't wait to see him back in action.
This is just a beautiful day. I'm very much enjoying this. Fabio, he's only 1-0. You can't get too excited yet, but on his debut, he massively impressed. With that, though, does there come pressure with a fight so soon?
I mean, you always put pressure on yourself. You know, you've got your own visions and dreams and expectations of yourself, where you see yourself going in the sport. So, you know, every performance is crucial because, you know, if you lose this fight, the next fight and then the one after that doesn't happen. So pressure, there's always pressure in boxing, there's always nerves in boxing. You put that on yourself by your own expectations of yourself. But I think the fact that there's talk and people are speaking highly of him and he's creating a reputation for himself by performing so well in the gym, you know, that's a good thing. It opens up doors for you. He's here on this, getting to fight on this platform. Like I said, it's a community boxing, and people speak to each other. So it's good that he's getting a reputation. He's only had one professional fight. He was a good amateur. He was impressive on his debut. He's out again now, quickly again. That's great to be busy, be active, get momentum in your career.
Okay, well, that is one Dillian Whyte's fighter. From one to another, I am, of course, talking about Richard Riakpo, another fighter on the card that has looked after Dillian Whyte. Here he is arriving. Looks like he hasn't got a care in the world. He faces Chris Smith on Saturday night.
All smiles. You know what? That's to me. I'm really looking forward to that fight. These guys are in exactly the same spot in their professional career. It's a big ask for both of them. Someone's always going to go, but you've got two tall, big units, cruiserweights, putting a shine on that mild division. I'm thinking you are going to enjoy this.
And we always say, don't we, in boxing, a happy fighter is a dangerous fighter. Well, from one happy fighter to another on the phone. I wonder what David Price is saying right here. He is arriving. He is in a fight, a much, much anticipated fight between himself and the White Rhino, David Allen. I know there has been so much talk about this fight. Very hard to pick a winner.
Very difficult. David Price, good amateur, great fundamentals, big guy, good straight puncher, good jab, big right hand, and he throws a really good uppercut. And Dave Allen, he can leave his head in that bucket a little bit. He leans over his front foot, open for an uppercut really. And David Price, huge puncher. We know David Allen has got a good chin, but David Price is such a big hitter. If he lands, if he catches Allen clean, it could be good night.
On paper, it should be a soft touch. On paper, it should be a soft touch for David Price. But the final four, no matter what you think of David Price, the guy, he's got the punch power, he has the right height, he has the reach, he has the ability to get the job done. The problem is that. Yeah. That's the problem there.
A lot of demons with David Price.
And even now, days before the fight, he'll be thinking, I've got to put it on him for 3-4 rounds because I know after that, I'm in hell's fire. And so, and Dave Allen can do that for him. Well,
I know another fighter that Whyte's team will have their eye on Saturday night is the man in the ring right now, and that is, of course, heavyweight Fabio Wardley, who faces Mariano Struntz. Again, he's made quite the impression, hasn't he, already?
Yeah, and it's been an unusual apprenticeship into boxing. He came through the white collar and was impressive. You can see he's very athletic, explosive. We've seen a couple of his fights here on Sky, and he's impressed every time. He throws a really good right hook, right uppercut combination. He sets it up behind the jab, and I've been impressed with him every time I've seen him.
What's your opinion, Matt, on the way he kind of has come into boxing, the white collar route? It isn't the normal route, is he? It hasn't had the normal, as we were, amateur background.
No, not at all, and it is unusual in that sense, and you do worry, has he had time to develop the fundamentals? You would say no, not really, because he's becoming a white collar, but he does seem to have quite a lot of natural aptitude for picking things up. He's got good balance, he's got definitely explosive power, and actually his shot repertoire is pretty impressive for someone who's so inexperienced.
Exactly, 7-0 he is so far, 6 wins by way of knockout. He is only 24 years old. It's fair to say, I think, it hasn't really been tested yet. Could we see him tested on Saturday night?
No, he hasn't. No, it looks like he hasn't, but when you see him fight, he has the confidence, he has the arrogance of somebody that's at this stage in his career thinks, I'm too good for this, I'm too big for this. This guy fancies it. This guy thinks this is just a stepping stone for what he wants to do. I think come Saturday night we're going to see another improving, growing performance from him. And I think 7 fights down the line, then we'll know how good he is going to be, how good he's going to be as a professional.
Yeah, and I think that swagger comes from the fact that he's, in fairness to him, put himself out there, who sparred with Usyk and all these people. So he's been in the performing, maybe not in the fights, but in the gym. He's been performing and going in and been competing at a level that he feels is so above against the guys he's fighting at.
And how much at this level, at 7-0, how much experience will that give him, and confidence as well?
Well, you've got to go under the bright lights. It's the sparring. Yeah. There's nothing like getting in there and doing the real thing, and you don't want to throw him in the deep end in the real thing on the fight night, because there's still so much things he's got to develop, improve on, get experience. But everything he's done so far, he's been impressive. He hasn't put a foot wrong, and he's got a nice jab. He throws a beautiful right uppercut, right hook as well. So it'd be interesting to follow his career.
One thing we haven't necessarily seen him get so far is rounds. Could he get those on Saturday night?
At this moment in time, he's too good for his own good at the level he's at. And eventually, when he does get into Saturday night, he's just got to switch it on. Don't think I want to get this done early. Don't think I'm going to get it done late. He's just got to get in there and do what he's trained to do. And if he's good enough, if it's going to be something special, he should get through with ease and up until a certain level, and then we'll see how good he really is.
I mean, it's early days, and he's a raw novice, really, but he's got some nice moves. He's definitely got some natural attributes, like I said, explosive power, good balance. He's got that swagger, that self-belief, which is crucial.
How important is it, do you think, to have that swagger? Do you need to have that?
It's poker face. You've got to have that swagger. Some guys say, for instance, Ruiz Jr., he gave the impression as though he was a fan. He had no swagger, nothing about him, and it catches you off guard because it's the last thing you expect. Or if you've got someone that's in your face to say, this is what I can do, you know what to prep for. He's one of those guys that's in your face to say, this is what I can do. Watch out for him.
Fighting out of Ipswich, 7-0, 6 knockouts with his head trainer Robert Hodgins, and he's in tough on Saturday against the Argentinian. Should be a really great fight, and managed by Dillian Whyte, of course. Looking for great things in the future from Fabio Wardley. Can't wait to see him in action on Saturday at the O2 Arena. Matchroom Boxing, Sky Sports Box Office, and DAZN.
Here we are, Chris Smith arriving here in the sunshine, getting plenty of water on board. He faces Richard Riakporhe again. I am very much looking forward to this battle.
The open workout continues today. We've got an incredible fight coming in right now. 10 rounds of boxing for the vacant southern area.
What are you looking forward to? Chris Smith, Richard Riakporhe, Matt?
Bring it in right now. Dan Aziz,
I think
he's
it's going to be a really good fight. I think Billum Smith, you got two guys there. Billum Smith, trained by Shane McGuigan. They don't Shane McGuigan doesn't associate himself or give his time to someone that he doesn't believe can go far.
And he's put with a tall unit in Lawrence to call it as well, so he knows what he's got in front of him.
He's had great sparring.
Great sparring. So that's one of his main sparring partners when he's been preparing for this one. So for him, you've got to be there. For him, you know, he's done everything expected of him.
Have we ever seen Lawrence Agoli looking anything but relaxed?
No, he looks very chilled out. He believes in himself. He's achieved a lot in such a short period of time. He hasn't been boxing long, really, when you weigh things up. I know he was an Olympian, but so he has had amateur pedigree, but it came very quickly for him. So he's developed a style he knows how to win. He gets the win, but sometimes he looks a bit scrappy and a bit untoward.
We're going to have to get used to it. He might not look great doing it, but he gets the results. And at the end of the day, that's what's most important.
And of course, he's coming today with a new trainer. He's training now down at the McGuigan gym.
Yeah, with Shane McGuigan, and you know he also trains Ballon Smith, so you can imagine they've been some hot and heavy sparring sessions in preparation for Saturday night. So it's a good card from start to finish, and I'm looking forward to it. All right, this card reminds me of last July, the Joseph Parker Dillian Whyte card, which everyone thought wasn't going to be pay-per-view worthy, and it ended up being one of the best cards we've ever worked on.
Right. Let's go to Dan Aziz. Oh, well, we're actually looking at beautiful pictures there of Tower Bridge. Does it get any better on a sunny afternoon? It is the perfect office, isn't it?
Oh, perfect setting. I feel like I'm making way. I've got a bit of a sweat coming on just watching.
I often get asked, what do you like about your job? And I just refer them to this show, really. I mean, it's just perfect, isn't it? Dan Aziz is in the ring. He takes on Charlie Duffield on Saturday night. He gets a live coverage under the way, 10 rounds of the vacant Southern Area light heavyweight title. A cracking London derby, this one, Matt.
Yeah, and I think this is what's happening. We're seeing it a bit more in boxing now, and it's a great thing. You've got two guys that are actually from the same management company, MTK, going in against each other in a competitive fight. You know, it's a great fight, and you know, we want to see this more happen. You know, prospects that are still very much on the road. We've seen it with Scott Fitzgerald and Anthony Fowler, guys that aren't even at their peak yet, but going in against each other in competitive 50-50 matchups where, you know, for the person to lose, it's a setback, but it's not the end of the world because they learn and they come back and they progress and move on. You know, Johnny lost early in his career. I lost early in my career.
Why do we have to go there?
No, I'm throwing myself into the conversation. I lost to his gym mate Andrew Facey in my 10th pro fight. So what? You know, I fought a few years later. I fought Jamie Moore in another fight when I still wasn't at my best. I lost again. It was crushing at the time, but it didn't do me any harm. All my best nights came after that. So, you know, it's good to see fighters that are still very much on the ascent in their career, going in early in what is a very competitive stroke 50-50 matchup.
Well, the two know each other very well, don't they? They both train at the Peacock Gym. Charlie under Mark Tibbs, Dan under Brian O'Shaughnessy. Does that matter, do you think? Is that a good thing?
It depends how friendly they are. How friendly they are. I've had to box a gym mate before, and you've just got to switch that emotion off and get on with it. And realistically, they were good mates. They wouldn't be fighting each other. So we've always looked across the gym and thought, I'd have you, I could do you. So this is the opportunity to do it and still stay friends.
Yeah, I mean, again, going back to the Jamie Moore fight, I mean, it was, you know, I don't need to talk it up at what a war that was, but me and Jamie didn't dislike each other. We weren't gym mates, but he did used to come into Billy Graham's gym quite regularly. He knew him well. He had been a sparring partner for Ricky Hatton on several occasions. So everyone in and around both camps were very friendly. Yeah. You'd think we hated each other the way we went at it. So, you know, don't let the friendliness, you know, throw you off guard.
Despite training in the gym together, they've never actually sparred.
Well, maybe because something like this was going to happen, they had that in mind. They knew eventually they'd have to cross paths. But look at what he's working on here. Look at it's pure technique he's working on. Nice, simple combinations, simple rolls, and nothing extra, nothing extravagant. And basically, it tells you he's looking to be pressured. He's looking to have to fight off the back foot. Let's see how he can transfer that when he comes to fight that in the ring.
Yeah, well, I think Charlie Duffield will come out and stick it on him. I don't think he's going to look to box. So, maybe Aziz sees himself as the boxer in this fight.
Yeah, and Aziz, that's what I'm saying. You look at the technical work he's doing. You look how he's rolling his shots. He's throwing the hooks in. So he's expected to have his opponent in his face.
Yeah, Duffield's pretty rugged, isn't he? He comes in behind the jab, but he's a pretty rugged fighter. I'd say he'd like it at quite close. But Aziz, like you say, rolling the jab there, come back with the left hook. Not loading up. He knows all the hard work's done. There's no point burning up energy out here in this heat. Just shaking things out. This is a promotional thing now, really. He knows all the hard work's done. He's just a little loosen up.
Yeah.
Really.
How do the fighters view these workouts, Johnny?
Well, I can only speak from personal experience, so I'd hope they thought the same. These are actually a pain. You don't want to do them because you just want to fight. This is a bigger deal for us than it is for them. They just want to get to the fight. So they're not going to really extend themselves when they do this sort of stuff. They do enough to get a sweat on. I can remember when I boxed in Germany, I just played with a medicine ball and took back and forth to Burnham. And so you just do as little as possible in these because you're obligated to give the fans something. They just want to fight. This hullabaloo, all this crap, they don't have that. They just want to fight at this stage.
Yeah, and I think also it depends on how you are at your weight division. You know, if you're struggling with weight, you can't think of anything worse than coming out here. Maybe not today, because at least it's so warm and the weather's great. But generally speaking, media workouts the week of a fight are real pain. You know, you're struggling with weight, you want your food, it upsets your routine.
6 knockouts. Also from
We're seeing here Derek Chisora's opponent, Spilka, soaking all up. He'll be out here very shortly. Looking forward to seeing him. Before that, though, Charlie Duffield is just about to make his way to the ring. And Dan Aziz's opponent. We're seeing Mark Tibbs, Johnny. Mark Tibbs again getting in the ring. He's a busy man on Saturday night. He's got a few fighters on the card.
I don't know how he's going to work it out when he has to be in the dressing room prepping his fighters and warm them up, and especially if one fight is just lost and he's got to get back in the dressing room to deal with another one. He's just going to put that to the back of his mind and think, right, business as usual, let's have the emotions after the night's done.
Do you think it's a good thing that Mark could be keeping busy?
Sorry, Anna?
A good thing that Mark Tibbs is keeping busy. He's got a few fighters on the card, and of course Dillian Whyte, the main event as well.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I was training with Billy Graham for a few years, especially when Ricky Hatton was fighting at the MEN, and I remember there was Ricky Hatton, myself, Gomez, Matthew Hatton, Paul Smith. There was, Stephen Bell. I think there was 6 or 7 gym mates on the same card, and it was pretty hectic for Billy Graham. And I think he used to, he'd be the fight before Hatton, the main event. If there was an early knockout or something, he'd have to run back and he'd quickly get the pads on, and he's trying to. And I remember thinking to myself, it must be difficult because you've got the game plan for each fighter separate, and turning that on and off. It's got to be difficult.
Emotions must be absolutely all over the place. It must be a roller coaster.
But they are, and that's why you've got to check them until after the fight, because you could be in a life and death situation with your fighter, and then you've got to come back, be cool, be calm, be articulate with the next fighter, not to get too buzzed before he actually gets into the ring.
Well, I'll give you another one when you're talking about emotions. When we were with Joe Gallagher, and he was training Stephen Smith, who fight Lee Selby, and he got knocked out, Stephen Smith, pretty badly, I think, in the 8th round. And we were back in the changing rooms, and literally, Joe's had to go, literally coming up with Stephen, and then going right back down with Paul, his brother. That's a difficult situation.
Yeah, that's double emotions, isn't it? It's just a tough ask, but his job is to say, look, stay calm.
Let's get back to Charlie, though. We've spoken about the two of them. Him and Dan know each other very well. They're very respectful of each other, Johnny. Good or a bad thing?
It's a good thing because I think you'll see nothing but professionalism in the ring when the bell goes. And listen, if you're going to do this game, you don't have to dislike your opponent. It doesn't have to be filled with bad blood. You can still see an outstanding fight. And that's what I think we'll see here. We'll see 2 guys getting their job done. Another guy, he was based in Dillon's training camp up in Loughborough, and he was working very, very hard when I saw him in action.
Well, this fight's scheduled for 10, Matt. Neither have been beyond 6. Could you see it going the distance?
I think it'll get interesting after 6.
I think so, yeah.
Because, fatigue kicks in. They've never really been there before. This is the biggest fight, the biggest stage that both have been on. Their nerves will be there. They'll probably come out quick. Look, I think when fatigue kicks in, you make more mistakes. You're open for shots. I think this fight could get interesting after 6 rounds, definitely.
And Charlie's actually been out of the ring, hasn't he, for 9 months. He's had a bit of time out, whereas Dan has been extremely active. Could that be a factor?
Well, that's on a public stage. It doesn't mean he's not been in the gym working out. It doesn't mean that he's not been ticking over, keeping himself fight fit and lead. So time away from this, the bright lights, it's not as detrimental as what people think, as long as you've been in the gym, as long as you've been ticking over.
Yeah, I mean, it can be a positive or a negative. You know, to be active, it's great. But if you're tired or you're a bit burnt out because you've been so active, then then it starts to become a negative. And sometimes being inactive, you know, that's the negative. You've been inactive, you want to be active, but at least you're coming in fresh. You know, you're not carrying injuries. There's no more like you're chomping at the bit, you're raring to go.
Where will Charlie see Dan's weaknesses, do you think?
Sorry?
Where will Charlie see Dan's weaknesses?
I think I don't know. He's a nice boxer, as he is. I think Charlie Duffield might try and not go win all out, but try and put the heat on him a little bit, change him into the trenches, kind of come on. Like I say, neither are big past 6, but they'll both feel that they're going to do the 10 rounds comfortably. But you know yourself, Johnny, it's doing it in the gym and then doing it on the night's a different thing.
Listen, there's many times I've been in with a sparring boxer, and I've sparred with a watching in the gym. You're a completely different animal when it comes to actually fighting, when you've got the smaller gloves on. So, and this is when both fighters are going to really get to know each other.
There we are, so there it is. Charlie Duffield is all done for the day. It's all about Saturday night. So if you had to pick a winner, and what does it come down to? What happens?
Ladies and
I think
gentlemen, the open workout continues today here in the shadow of the Tower Bridge in London, England. Just a beautiful day.
It looks like he's ready to when I saw him in prep, I know he's prepped hard. I can't speak for Aziz. I know Aziz is looking for an opponent that comes on to him. If Duffield can keep on, they'll stood there now having two interviews next to each other again. So let's see if there's any niceties there with them both. But I'm curious to see how this unfolds.
Can you learn anything from these open workouts about each other?
I can't hear you over David.
Do you know what? Shall we let David speak? Let's let David
Both
speak.
fighters are undefeated, 9-0, 8 knockouts. They both have the same record.
2 undefeated fighters, 2 young bulls going head to head. There's nothing better. From London, England, ladies and gentlemen, Richard Riakporhe. Also his trainer Martis.
Now, this is a fight that could get very interesting. Both undefeated, both 9-0, 8 wins by knockout for the two of them.
I'm excited by this fight, Anna, because you know, Riakporhe I've seen against Sam Hyde in Manchester, a fight he was losing quite clearly, but he pulled it out the bag, landed a huge right hand, brought up a grotesque eye injury, and the fight was stopped. You know, then he goes in against Tommy McCarthy, and I thought Tommy McCarthy would be too experienced for him, and he'd be able to outmaneuver, outthink Richard Riakporhe. But you know what? He carries serious one-punch power, and he just landed a big right hand and completely turned it all around.
Riakporhe's one of those fighters that I think, there's an old saying that Brendan used to say, you've not got the confidence to match your ability. And right at this moment in time, he's not got the confidence to match his ability. But if things go well, he keeps winning, he keeps listening, keeps learning, you will then see how good he actually is. You can see, looking at his stature, he looks a lot slimmer now. So I'm wondering if he makes cruiser easy. I don't know, but right now he looks a lot slimmer than usual. Big shoulders, big arms. But usually when you see him fight, it's about pace. It's about when he's got a shot coming on, how he's going to use the education he's got in the gym to transfer at fight time. Does his mind think quick enough to adapt? And so the questions are there. You're still, you know, the jury's still out whether or not to see how good he really is, but potentially can be very, very good.
Yeah, I mean, picking up from what Johnny said there, he doesn't have the confidence to match his ability yet, but I think that's coming now. You know, those performances against Hyde,
when we saw him against Sam Hyde, I think it's fair to say he did look a little tense. He looked a little nervous, didn't he? Right up until
he was
that
very
big
tense,
right hand came.
very stiff. Wasn't letting his hands go. You know, I don't want to say he froze, but he was definitely a little bit overawed by the occasion. But I think against Tommy McCarthy, you've got to say, credit to him. He come out and put on a first-class performance. Who, by the way, McCarthy was a world-class amateur and more experienced as a pro as well. So that win for me against Tommy McCarthy by Riakporhe, that was a really good performance. And I think that performance and the win against Hyde, that he'll start to get that belief and that confidence now, hopefully, to match his ability.
We saw him showboating a bit there, doing a bit of juggling, Johnny. That for the hand-eye coordination.
Hand-eye coordination, but again, it's one of those things where they want to do as little as possible on this stage today. But
is it about as many tricks as you can do in the ring to avoid doing too much?
Without having to kill yourself. And you know, it's hot out here. He's not even got a sweat on as yet. So again, I'm just going to be curious to see what he gets in the ring at and see what the gossips are backstage in regards to how he makes cruiser. But he's a big unit, and I think he's very relaxed. But let's just hope he can match his ability.
And going on his last couple of fights, Matt, that you just mentioned there, between Sam Hyde and latterly Tommy McCarthy, having that experience of coming through those tough fights, how much will that stand him in good stead on Saturday?
All about belief, all about confidence. He's got that natural one-punch power, which he's God-given. You can't.
Is that enough?
You've either got that or you haven't, and he's got that big time. But against Sam Hyde, he was very reluctant to let his hands go. He froze a little bit, and he was getting outworked, and he was getting beaten. Pulled out the bag with that big right hand. But against Tommy McCarthy, it was a better performance. He let his hands go more, but again, it was the big right hand that did the damage. You know, he carries the power to take you out with one punch, but I think he has got boxing ability too. He's just got to get belief and confidence in himself and set things up behind the jab, which we've seen in the McCarthy fight. So I'm expecting him a good performance because he seems to be getting better and better with each performance.
And Johnny, imagine a quality that you like about Richard is the fact that pretty much domestically he seems keen to fight absolutely anyone.
Yeah, that's right. And sometimes, you know, the fighters are probably too brave for their own good. So yes, he's willing to fight anyone, especially at this stage. You know, he's in with another unbeaten fighter. He fancies it. He thinks this is going to be a good round. But I just like the fact that you've got young cruiserweights coming through, and they've got competition there. The problem in the cruiserweight division before there wasn't enough competition to let people see how good the cruiserweights can be. Now, even at domestic level, we've got good competition at domestic level. And again, you've got to respect both fighters.
The division's having a bit of a renaissance, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. But I just think generally in boxing, certainly the domestic scene, fighters are going in and having 50-50 fights or certainly competitive fights at domestic level, which they may lose. But you know what? It's not the end of the world. If you're losing a great fight, you learn and you come back. You can lose, but still enhance your reputation.
Well, this is Richard's opponent, Chris Burnham-Smith. As I said, they're both undefeated, both 9-0, 8 wins by way of knockout, trained here by Shane McGuigan. He's been in the gym, and of course, Lawrence Okoli, that's just recently signed with Shane McGuigan. He's been getting plenty of sparring with him. And Lawrence physically is pretty similar, I'd say, to Richard Riakporhe.
Yeah, without a doubt. But you look at Burnham-Smith's form, and he looks more together. He looks more compact. His shots look like they've got a bit more punch, a bit more snap in it, which to me tells me we've got someone that's going to be an attacking fighter that's going to put Riakporhe on the back foot to make him box his way through it. Look at seeing what I'm seeing now. It's going to be an interesting fight.
Yeah, I mean, he's a solid hitter, Shane McGuigan, good trainer, and not only he wouldn't give his time to someone who he didn't believe in, so you know that speaks highly of him too. I haven't seen the spars, heard he's a good fighter, but he definitely can see him hitting the pads here, and he's got power for sure. You can hear these shots; they're pretty thudding, solid punches. But Riakporhe carries devastating one-punch power, so I think this is going to be fireworks.
This is the thing, we're seeing power now from Chris Burnham-Smith. We know Richard's got that massive right hand. What do you think, Johnny, it's going to come down to?
It's going to come down to confidence. It's going to come down to self-belief. Riakporhe, as I said, he's not got the confidence to match his ability. He has the ability. It's got to click Saturday night, because if it doesn't click Saturday night, this young man we're watching here will give him nightmares, because I just think the pressure will be too much. The pressure behind him.
Who would you rather fight?
The two of them.
Not right now, obviously. Back in the day.
Riakporhe, the reason being is because, again, he hasn't got the confidence to go with the ability he's got. He doesn't work at the same sort of pace. So that'd give me more time to think, time to figure him out. Burnham-Smith, he's one of those kind of guys where you've got to hope he makes a mistake and pick him off that mistake. Has Riakporhe got that knowledge to be able to trick him into that?
All right, okay, well, we are just going to wrap up our coverage here on our live stream. Make sure you join us on the main channel. It is all about Saturday night. Book it on Sky Sports Office. We shall see you on Saturday.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more round of
If he runs, I beat him up. He comes to fight, I put him to sleep.
Look at this, what a magnificent setting in the shadow of historic Tower Bridge. The fighters from Saturday's big Dillian Whyte and Oscar Rivas show at the O2 have descended on the South Bank for their open workouts this afternoon. We've already seen a few at the undercard boxes do their thing in the ring, and this bill is full of terrific matchups. But now to the heavyweights, well, we'll get to them in just a mo, who dominate the main three fights on the night, although Lawrence Okoli is currently in the ring at the moment. Look at this for a setting. Does it get any better? This is our beautiful office for the day. And I'm joined by Matt Macklin and Johnny Nelson. It really doesn't get any better than this, does it?
Apart from getting attacked by the bees and the flies, we're all good.
I've got you on hand to sort those out.
Yeah, I'll enjoy it. I'll swat them. You swat them and you dodge it.
It's not a bad setting indeed for the open workouts this afternoon. Currently in the ring we have Lawrence Okoli, who is with his new trainer Shane McGuigan. And we spoke about Shane McGuigan a few moments ago on the live stream. He doesn't take on fighters, you know, without really thinking about it. It's a statement of intent in itself.
Yeah, I mean, he absolutely values his time, and he doesn't want to, and his reputation, so he doesn't want to line and put that work in with someone unless he believes in them and believes in what they can achieve. And Lawrence Okoli is someone who's had a lot of success with limited experience, limited, I won't say ability, because I think the potential is there, but he hasn't had enough fights to develop that ability. And, you know, even though he was an Olympian, he came to boxing pretty late, but he's developed a very effective style. He's got a big right hand, he's got a long reach, he can be a bit herky-jerky sometimes. Feet can be not always the best, but he really cracks with that right hand. He's physically very strong for a tall,
How does he make
guy.
cruiserweight? Look at the size of him.
I mean, he's pretty skinny, Johnny. You know, he's got skinny legs, but you know, he's one of those skinny, strong guys. You know, those wiry guys. They're horrible to fight. Yeah, he's gangly, but he's physically strong, rugged, cracks really hard with the right hand. You know, he's been in a couple of stinkers, didn't really live up to what we thought. The Matty Haskins one in particular, but there's no doubt he's very effective.
We all talk about, we have spoken about at length in the past. I'm sure Lawrence Okoli is fed up of us talking about it, him being a work in progress. Still got a lot to sort of prove and learn. But we can't forget that he's British Commonwealth and WBA Continental champ. He's proved himself so
You
far.
know, in his defence, it doesn't, regardless of if his style is TV friendly, exciting, or what, this guy is a winner. He's getting his job done, and because his style is unorthodox, it's not attractive, he's getting the wins. Eventually, when it all comes together, you know, it's like a baby giraffe at the moment, but he's still getting the success. When it all comes together, then all of a sudden you'll see the success of what he's got. You'll see how good he really is. And I could see him actually stepping up to heavyweight eventually, if he wanted to, because I'm quite sure he'll spar with a lot of heavyweights and feel very comfortable with him. He can punch, and that's what's most important. The W is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And as long as he keeps winning, and as long as he's got titles, he'll fight. Because if he was a guy at this stage of his career without titles, he'd be in the who needs him club. And so he'd be waiting months and months to get a fight with somebody. So right now he owns all the jewels domestically, so people have to fight.
What do you think Shane will bring to his game?
I think he'll be trying to polish him up. Like I say, he's even though he was an Olympian, he was relatively inexperienced, came to boxing quite late, and I think he needs a bit of schooling, you know, trying to build better foundations, better fundamentals. His assets are he hits very hard and he's full of self-belief, physically very strong. Like I said, a little bit herky-jerky, but you know what, that awkwardness almost works for him as well. So I think Shane will be just trying to add a bit of good foundations, trying to add a bit of schooling, a bit of technical finesse, trying to add to what he's got, you know, physical strength, punch power, full of self-belief, very rugged and tough. But I think he just needs a bit more, you know, a lot of drills, a few more skills, a bit more technical, work on some of the technical aspects of his game.
Well, he takes on Saturday night Mariano Godinho. He's come in at short notice. How will that affect things, Johnny?
I think at this level, I don't think it'll
ladies and gentlemen.
make a massive difference to Colin, especially a confidence fighter like a Colin. And I'd be surprised if Colin knows a lot about him. He'll just go out there and do his thing, and that's what's most important. Remember, at this stage, when this is your learning stage. When you've got opponents that come at the last minute notice, you've got to be able to adjust massively. You've got to make sure it doesn't dip your desire, your hunger to want to win. And I think Okoli's desire is just to be on the bill, get involved, and show the people what he can do.
Look at this. This is the White Rhino, Dave Allen, arriving here at Pottersfields Park. As ever, comes chipper and happy, full of the joys of summer. He faces David Price. Now, this is a fight that has got everyone talking. It really, really has. When we talk about 50-50 fights, it really does apply. Did you just say, what has he got on?
Yeah.
I really don't think you're a man that can ever judge what someone wears.
He must be roasting. He must be roasting coming in here. I'm like, oh, but he's a northerner, so he's used to roughing it. But he's very relaxed. He's very confident in coming in here.
Yeah, he's got a good man by his side there, very experienced.
Yeah.
Darren Barker, been there, done it, world champion. So he'll take a lot of confidence in working with someone like Darren Barker.
And you know, speaking to Dave Allen, when he talks about a fight, when he does interviews about a fight, to not put pressure on himself, he kind of said it to say, well, I'll do my best, you know, try my hardest, I'm not bad, and he tries to play down a bit. He'll want this win, and he'll find this win.
Here we are at top of the bill. This is who Dillian Whyte will be facing on Saturday night at the O2 Arena. Oscar Rivas. He comes with an impressive record, 26-0. A real threat to Dillian Whyte on Saturday night.
Without a doubt, I hope there's not an upset, you know, for UK boxing. I hope it's not an upset, but it's a big possibility because this guy's got everything it would take: pace, confidence, credentials, pedigree. So after this, Dillian Whyte gets a win from Rivas. He's got to officially be recognised by all the other fighters as one of the fighters to be reckoned with.
Yeah, well, I think he goes mandatory if he wins. I mean, I think they're still talking about it, but he deserves his shot now. I mean, he's gone from 50-50 fight to 50-50 fight to another really dangerous fight. I mean, this is a massive potential banana skin. Oscar Rivas, dangerous, Olympian, good amateur pedigree, undefeated fighter. He's coming. This is a huge opportunity for him. So this is a difficult and dangerous fight for Dillian Whyte.
Indeed. Well, we'll talk about that a little bit more in a bit. But currently in the ring, it is Artur Spilter who will be facing Derek Chisora on Saturday night. How much a threat is he to Chisora?
Against Chisora, I'll admit to you, he doesn't like working with fighting with southpaws, even working with southpaws in preparation for this. He's been moaning about it. He's not happy.
Why is it? Why is it that southpaw seems to trouble him so much?
Do you know what it is with Derek Chisora? He's an in-your-face type of fighter. He's a good body puncher. He likes to set things up behind the jab, slip inside your jab, and then he wants to fight at close quarters. He gets good momentum there. He throws good. He lets his hands go. He can fight up close. He doesn't have the best of feet. He doesn't have the best of straight shots like a straight right hand or countering shots. He likes to be up close where he can get to work. So against the southpaw, it's more difficult to break that distance, to close the range. So I think that's why he struggles with them. And we've heard that he hasn't looked great in sparring. He's got it together kind of last few sessions, but this is a difficult fight.
And the reason why most fights struggle with southpaws is because there's not a lot of them around. You can walk in any given gym, you might find one or two. Look, if you've around half a dozen southpaws in the gym. So you used to spar with other orthodox fighters. So you said the left hand first, the right hand coming from the back lead. That's what you used to. So all of a sudden, if you've got to fight a southpaw, you've got to change your mindset that's been inbred into you. To think, right, I've got to try and think differently. They move left instead of right. They shoot off with the right hand.
That's doubly hard, isn't it? Undoing old habits.
Well, it's a different fight. I mean, a lot of things that work for you against an orthodox against an orthodox fight. A lot of things that work. Slip inside the jab, get your own jab off. Your jab sets everything up. You work the body shots in. But against the southpaw, your lead hands kind of cancel each other out a little bit. You can't just walk in, can't slip the jab and walk in and you're in close where you can get to work to the body. For someone like Chisora, that's where he likes to do all his good work. That's where he's effective up close. That's pretty much nullified against the southpaw. He's got to kind of come at it. The approach is so different. The straight right hand, that's a shot that works great against the southpaw. Derek doesn't really throw a great straight right hand. So it is a different fight.
We're hearing Derek Chisora that he's actually not going to work out today. He will be here.
Oh, that Derek's turned up.
So
this
is the thing I was going to say is we've seen this before, haven't we? I think it's fair to say we just never know which Derek Chisora is going to turn up, do we?
He's an emotional animal, and Derek, when he's good, Derek.
Well, we can see him here. He actually is here, but he's not going to work out.
He'll play the game, but right now he's got the attitude to say, I ain't playing with any of you. And if he's really not working out today, it's your obligation to do this.
Oh, so, he is such an unpredictable man.
One thing I will say is, his last fight was against the southpaw, and it was a frustrating night, but he showed good discipline.
It wasn't really his fault, was it?
Wasn't his fault at all. His opponent just wanted to survive. He was lots of lateral movement, but Derek showed good discipline. He kept his shape. He didn't get too temperamental. He stuck to his game plan. So that was good preparation for this fight. But this is obviously against a much better fighter who's coming to win.
That's an odd pairing, isn't it?
Well, David Hay, we're talking about there. We're saying that. Yeah, well, of course, and he's linked up with David Caldwell. He had his first fight last time out with Dave. This is his second, but as a pairing, they couldn't really take too much from that last fight.
No, because the opponent didn't want to win. He just wanted to survive, and it was a southpaw that ran.
Gashi.
The good thing that you would get from the Gashi fight is that it was preparation going in against another southpaw. So even though he's going to be different, because we know this guy, Spilka, is going to come to really have a go, look to win, and I think it's going to be a good fight. I think they're going to. And that's a good thing for Derek. I don't think, with Gashi, who was moving so much, it made Derek use his feet a lot. And at this stage in Derek's career, his feet probably aren't what they were, and he never had the best feet in the world anyway. So I think a guy who's more stationary, who's going to stand there and have a fight with him, that's what Derek wants.
He's been involved in some very hard fights in his career. He's had a lengthy career. Can he afford to have too many more of those, Johnny?
That's the nature of the beast. That's his character. He wants somebody that's in his space, that wants to have an argument with him. I think the worst thing is somebody that's going to try and box him and perform the sweet science of boxing on him. He needs to get under your skin. He needs you to stand there, because any two people can stand toe to toe and sling punches, and really it makes it 50-50. That's what he needs to do. That's what he needs to get into.
David Price is soaking all up. Derek Chisora is going to come up behind him and surprise him. There he goes. Nice big hug there from him. How much do you think Derek needs to impress on Saturday?
Sorry?
How much do you think he needs to impress on Saturday?
Well, he needs to win first and foremost, and if he can impress, of course, he wants to get a shot and another big fight. You know, Derek's always, generally speaking, always in entertaining fights, and if it's not, usually it's not his fault. Like I say, Gashi last time wasn't a great fight, wasn't Derek's fault. I think this is going to be a good fight. You know, against Dillian Whyte, that's a fight that he was ahead on the cards. He'd had 2 points deducted, you know, going into the 11th round, and, you know, he got knocked down in the 11th. But Derek, I did think going into that fight, how many times can Derek Chisora keep going to the well? But, you know, he pulled out a great performance, even though he lost the fight. So, you know, it's difficult to say. But we know one thing with Derek Chisora, if the opponent comes to fight, then 9 times out of 10, we're in for a treat.
Do you think Spilker will cause him problems?
Without a doubt, Spilker was throwing a stiff, hard, solid jab there, just in his little workout. And I think that he'll take the fight to Derek. And Derek's got to be cute enough, smart enough, and clever enough to try and negate, try and suffocate that jab that Spilker throws out there. But he's a strong, confident fighter that still has world ambitions.
Right, let's move to another heavyweight now, David Price in the ring. We've seen him in the ring a fair few times over the career, haven't we? He's facing David Allen on Saturday night. A real mouth-watering 50-50 clash, this one.
Yeah, this could be the most dramatic fight of the night. I think we're going to see a big KO here, which way it goes. David Price.
It's just a question of who, isn't it?
We don't know who, but David Price got, you know, serious power. He throws a good right uppercut. He's got a big right hand. Dave Allen sits in the pocket a little bit, leaves his head in the bucket, leans over his front foot, wide open for a right uppercut at times. But he does have a good chin. But and you know, he carries good power himself. The fight against Lucas Brown, even though it was a body shot, he was backwards to the wall a little bit in that fight. Lucas Brown was really sticking it on him, and that left hook, you know, got him out of jab. It was a beautiful shot to finish the job. But you know, this is an exciting fight because none of us really can say with any confidence how we think it's going to go.
We know David Price has that enormous right hand, Johnny. We know he carries that huge power. We haven't necessarily seen him use it for a while. But in terms of boxing, heavyweight boxing, the power is the last thing that goes, right?
It's the last thing that goes, and he knows what he's capable of doing. But he also knows if he loses to Dave Allen, who stood there ringside watching David Price's workout, it's more or less curtains for him. He's thinking, well, where do I go? There's no excuses left. What should I do? So he knows a lot. There's a lot more on the line for him than there is for Dave Allen. But this guy can bang, he can punch, he can box. We know he's got that. We know he's got that in his arsenal. But we know he can do it for a good 3 rounds.
Yeah, and you know, also David Price isn't going to be as daunted facing David Allen as he would have been fighting a Povetkin or a Guzman. You know, serious KO merchants at a good level. So with real good amateur pedigree, he'll see Dave Allen. You know, I should be able to beat a guy like this. So he'll be. I think he'll come out quite confident.
David Price also seems to be in a good place mentally. I think previously in his career we've spoken about how he used to put a lot of pressure on himself, and that seems to have gone away. Why is that? Is that an age thing?
I think it's once that pressure of expectation from the public had gone, he seemed to relax a lot more. He seemed to be more accepting more of the situation. And so as he's lost, and he's lost in decent fights, I think, you know what, you're not expecting me to do anything now, so I can just go out there and do my thing. And so, and I've just noticed that change with him. He's just his attitude when he talks about his fights, when his attitudes when he's approaching the fight. He's saying, you know what, I've lost now. It's over and done with. Let me just get him there and let me see what I can do.
Yeah, I think just pressure. You know, too much pressure, expectations, a couple of bad knockout defeats psychologically. Then he had big demons, and when he get hit with the shot, he'd short circuit a little bit because, you know, he'd been down in the amateurs as well. He could be hurt, and then he'd just go, oh no, it's happening again, and you know, he put all that pressure on himself. So I think when he goes in and he doesn't feel the pressures on him, he performs so much better. A bit like against Povetkin, even though that was a dangerous fight and a daunting opponent in someone like Alexander Povetkin.
Very relaxed.
He actually seemed quite relaxed, you know, ironically. So I think, you know, but I think he's at the stage now where he's lost 6 fights, where it's almost like he's enjoying his boxing.
All right, okay, coming up after the break, we will hear from David Price and we shall see his opponent, David Allen, in the ring. Stay with us. Welcome back to the magnificent, beautiful Pottersfield Park this afternoon. What a setting here at Tower Bridge for the open workouts ahead of the big show on Saturday night, which Dillian Whyte and Oscar Rivas are headlining. We have just seen David Price in the ring, so let's hear from him now, who's with a Cheshire cat, that is, Andy Scott.
Very kind, Anna. David, great to see you looking so well. Many people picking this as a 50-50 fight this weekend against David Allen. Do you agree with that?
I'd say so, yeah, in the form going in, both coming off wins. Dave's got a bit of momentum, I've got a bit of momentum. It's a pick and fight for the public, you know, so it's going to be exciting to watch.
Cash Ali and Tom Little were two opponents that you were expected to beat. Is that adequate preparation for Dave Allen?
Do you know what, I'd say so. I mean, the fact that they were domestic opponents probably helped with the build-up and everything else, so I'd say it's the right accordant step up for it. You know, we've stepped up accordingly, and I think Dave Allen fits the bill for the next step up after them two.
From a mentality point of view, are you feeling any pressure ahead of this one?
No pressure whatsoever, because I'm the B-side in this fight, and it's kind of it's nice, really. It's refreshing. Dave Allen's the favourite, but you know, I know what I'm capable of, and I know what I'm expecting to do on the night.
Okay, we wish you all the best ahead of Saturday night against David Allen.
Thank you, mate.
Does it get any better than this? Tower Bridge there in the background. The ring here down by the South Bank, and David Allen is in the ring doing his business with his trainer Darren Barker. Are you joining us, Johnny? Having a chat there with David Hay behind us.
The boys have jumped in, we're just discussing tactics come Saturday night. Yeah.
Let's focus on the fight in hand now.
Yeah,
We've
that's
got
right.
David Allen in the ring. David Price seems very relaxed. What about David Allen? How do you see him?
Again, another relaxed individual. You can never read too much into what he does, how he acts, what he says. Today, I think he's having fun. He's coming barefoot. He's laughing and joking. He's hanging about, listening to what David Price has got to say. You know, you're not going to see anything serious here right now with Dave Allen, but he just wants to get on with the fight.
It is a fight, Matt, that the fighters wanted, and the public certainly wanted this fight.
Yeah, both men wanted it. It's an exciting fight. The public are loving it. I think it's going to be dramatic. I think Dave Allen has the better chin. I think that could be the big factor on the night.
How are you calling it, though? Many are saying it could be Price early, and if it goes long, it falls into David Allen's favour. What do you think?
I've no confidence in going either which way, but I think that David Allen has the better chin. And I think in a fight where both men are probably going to test each other's chins, that could be the crucial factor. So, you know...
Do you think it's about chin or heart?
I just think probably a bit of both, you know, but I think he's going to have the better chin. He probably tucks up and rides the shots better. David Price, huge puncher, but David Allen certainly hits hard enough to take David Price out also, because he is fragile. He's been knocked out before. 6 losses have
and he's got a good chin as well.
All been stoppages, but David Allen's got a solid chin, a good chin. He's been hit by big punches in the past and took them quite well. So I think, you know, gun to my head, I'm going to go for a David Allen knockout win.
I don't know if you can see this on the screen that you're seeing. You can't quite now on the pictures, but he's wearing flip-flops. What's that all about,
He needs
Johnny?
to be careful because he can go over on his ankle hairs, but he's throwing caution to the wind. Again, you're not actually putting that much into these workouts here.
And is this all part of the David Allen sort of persona? This is...
Yeah, of course. I'm relaxed. I'll do it my own way, and you know, it's taking pressure off himself. He knows he's got a serious joint end, but I actually think, come fight night, yes, he's the tougher of the two and the more durable of the two. The biggest punch, obviously, David Price, and I think that's what he'll be looking. David Allen will be looking to do: wear him down, walk him down, and hope David Price gives up himself.
And this is his second fight with Darren Barker as his trainer, and it seems to be a partnership that they bring out the best in each other.
I think so. I think he's Darren Barker, former world champion, someone that David Allen gets on really well with, buzzes with, but certainly respects him and probably looks up to him and gets a lot of confidence in working with him. So I think it's a good partnership. It seems to be working really well for both of them.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing what he's got to say. Let's hear from him now with Andy Scott.
David, looking superb. Not sure about the footwear, but looking superb. Just spoke to David Price. He says that the pressure is all on you.
That's nice. You know, I don't really feel pressure. I said last year, I boxed Nick Webb 12 months ago. I beat him and I said, whatever happens from here is a bonus. I I put 10% down on a house in Doncaster. I said, you know, whatever happens, I can pay it off for the next 35 years, and I've always got something out of boxing now. So I always said, whatever happens is a bonus. I won 2 fights after that. I beat Lucas Brown. Now fighting David Price. This is a really big bonus. Is the pressure on me? I don't think so. I don't really care enough about anything in life, really, for it to be a pressurised situation for myself. But if David Price loses to me, I know it'll upset him, because I never boxed when he was like the next Klitschko. Never even boxed in my life. So he must beat me, otherwise it's the end. Whereas I'll keep going. I've got no shame. I'll fight anywhere, whoever. So the pressure's all on him.
How much of an advantage is it that Darren Barker will be in your corner for the first time in your career now he's got his professional cornerman's licence?
Oh, it's a massive advantage. You know, I hope I don't have to come back to the corner at the end of round 1. I hope that I don't have to, but...
Do you think it could go that quick?
I think it could go that quick. He hits hard enough, and I hit hard enough, and he's fragile enough. If I hit him, he'll go. If he hits me, I could go as well. So that's why it's so intriguing, because one of us will get knocked out at some point. It just depends when, how, where, who. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm excited to be involved in it myself. It's an exciting fight, and I always want to be involved in these kind of fights. I've got all the respect in the world for David Price. I know what he's capable of, and I'm just excited by the whole week, as you can tell.
What about motivation and discipline, which you haven't always had? Now, do you feel like you're on the big stage and you want to stay here?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice. I do like to be here, but you know, and it's nice because I'm here in the home corner. I boxed Lucas Brown, a big winnable fight, and with David Price, a big winnable fight. I just want to keep going. I know what the prize is for this fight, and I guess realistically, that's what's kept me going for this fight. I'm a very lazy man. I like to eat. I like to go out and do things I shouldn't do. So I do need something to keep me going, and I've had that in this fight. I've got Darren as well, who keeps me on the straight and narrow. So yeah, everything's gone well for this fight. Everything's 100%. There's no excuses, and yeah, I'm really happy. That's the main thing. When I'm happy, I'm dangerous.
Before I let you go, a lot of people here. You're on the PA system. You got a message for everyone here today?
Hello, everyone. Hello. Yes. Just say hello. Hope everyone's enjoyed the performance me and Darren just put on. Yeah.
What a beautiful, rousing speech. Best of luck.
I'll tell you what, there is a lot of love for David Allen in this room and in this park this afternoon. Is there as much love for Eddie Hearn?
No, of course not, but it doesn't have to be any love. I'm just pleased with Dave Allen. He looks so well. You know, like I've seen him so many times turn up for fights where he's just, you know, he's obviously had his problems in the past and just turns up for the money. Now he's really got a love for the sport. He's worked very hard with Darren Barker and he's happy. You know, and he looks really well physically. You know, he's in great shape. He's worked.
Because that's the thing, mentally and physically, he seems to be in a good place.
He does. Doesn't mean he's going to win. You know, sometimes it can work against you, but I think as a fighter, you always have to give yourself the best chance to win in this sport. You've got to prepare the best you can. Just like a sprinter, when you're ready to do the 100 metres, you know you've done all you can. And that David Allen can go into this fight knowing he couldn't have done any more in this fight. They're already telling me to book Povetkin in for August the 31st at the O2. They think this is a 3-round job. I've not seen David Price look as confident as this for a long time. My head says Price inside 4 or Allen after 4. But both guys have the power to end it at any time.
It's got everyone talking. Everyone is split on who they're picking to win on that one. The reason why we have got you up here is we'd like an update, if possible, on the situation with our main event on the WBC title.
Yeah, we had finally finalised with the WBC. This fight will be for the WBC interim world title between Whyte and Rivas. The winner will be the mandatory challenger for Deontay Wilder's WBC world title. It's big news for Dillian Whyte. You know, we've been campaigning for this for a long time. Finally got the job done. One more hurdle to overcome in Oscar Rivas. This is a banana skin. I see this as a 50-50 fight. So many similarities between Rivas and Ruiz. Both great amateurs, both being totally overlooked. Everybody talking about the next fight. Both got a chance to really change their life. And Andy Ruiz did it, and Oscar Rivas believes he's going to do it on Saturday night.
I've got a question that I think many will be asking since this news has been announced. When and if will he fight Deontay Wilder?
Well, the date is the end of May 2020 is when that fight has to take place by. So we know he's fighting against Ortiz. He will get his Fury Wilder fight in February, and the winner of that
Can you see him fighting twice within 6 months?
It's up to him. It's a ruling from the WBC. So to be honest with you, like in boxing, anything can change. But what I want Dillian Whyte to be mandatory on paper, right? Whether that comes in May or June, no, we've been told it happens by the end of May. Whether he has to wait another couple of weeks or a month, we know that if Dillian Whyte beats Oscar Rivas, he is mandatory for Deontay Wilder. That is the key. But he's got to beat Oscar Rivas. One more hurdle to overcome, and Rivas is going to cause a war at the O2 on Saturday night.
Well, it's certainly good news for fighter and for fans as well. Right, let's get back to MC David Diamante. Thank you, Eddie.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I want to welcome everyone here to Potter's Fields in London, England. We're in the shadow of the Tower Bridge for the open workout for Saturday night's incredible night of boxing action. And it's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. Now, all the action will be broadcast live around the world, exclusively here in the United Kingdom on Sky Sports Box Office. It'll be streamed exclusively in the United States on DAZN. We're sponsored by William Hill, StubHub, JD Sports, and Val. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come time to bring in the main event of the evening for Saturday night at the O2 Arena. 12 rounds of boxing for the interim WBC Heavyweight Championship and the mandatory position. Right now, making his way to the ring by way of Montreal, Canada, by way of Cali, Colombia. He's undefeated, 26-0, 18 big wins coming by way of knockout. He's the reigning, defending, undefeated NABO, NABF, and IBF International Heavyweight Champion, Oscar Rivas. Rivas.
So here he comes entering the ring, Oscar Rivas. He comes with a pretty phenomenal record, 26-0. He is undefeated. Does that make him a dangerous man?
Of course it does. He doesn't know how to lose. He shows how ambitious he is. This is an opportunity, a stage, a platform that he's been dying to be a part of. An Olympian, good amateur pedigree. I've watched him fight. He can bang. He's got that dangerous with that right hand over the top of the jab. He's got pretty fast hands. He's short. He's not a big heavyweight, but he's compact and he's squatting. You know, he can. I've just said to Johnny there. You know, this is a. Don't be shocked if this goes the way that we don't think it is. White's the favourite here, but I said don't be surprised if Rivas upsets the odds.
Yeah, Johnny, he comes here, as I said, undefeated, a record of 26-0. He's a very experienced fighter. Does that give him even more confidence when he faces an opponent like Dillian Whyte?
This man has committed himself to moving home and based himself in Canada. He's in a gym of champions. He was headhunted by a big setup out there because they know this guy's something special. We're only just being introduced to Rivas now. Rivas, over the other side of the world in the boxing circle, people that know of him, sparring partners that know of him, know he's a handful. I think for him to come in here, the O is nothing. It's a bigger deal to us than it is to the fighters, but he'll know what he's got to do. He'll think, you know what, it adds to your confidence. He'll think, I can do this. I can get rid of him. And I think he'll try and outwork Dillian. I think he'll try and put the pressure on Dillian. And I think success breeds success. And the gym he's from, the people backing him, they expect total success come Saturday night.
He also comes into this fight after a victory over Bryant Jennings in January. An incredibly close, tight 12-round fight that was.
Yeah, but it's the biggest name on his record. It was the biggest fight of his career. So coming in off your biggest win, I mean, it's great momentum. Bouncing in now into a fight against Dillian Whyte, he probably feels that was the last test passed and he's ready for this shot. Against Dillian Whyte. Because if he beats Dillian Whyte, then he'll probably go mandatory and get a shot at the world title. So it's undefeated fighter, an Olympian. Like I say, he's not a big heavyweight, but he's a dangerous heavyweight. He's a big, good puncher. He throws that right hand over the top of the jab really well, works the body well. He's got fast hands. This is a dangerous fight.
What adjustments will he have to make from that Bryant Jennings fight going into this one, Johnny?
Well, Dillian is his biggest professional test to date. He's got a live opponent in front of him that expects to win. Not getting in there thinking, I hope I pull it off. Dillian expects to win. He thinks he's the heir apparent. So for Rivas, his adjustments are going to be pace. Pressure. He'll have looked at the Chisora fight and thought, you know what, you were losing that fight. I'm just going to throw twice as many punches and keep that pressure on.
Where do you think he'll see Whyte's weaknesses?
Well, he's been hurt. You know, that Joseph Parker, if there was another 30 seconds in that fight, who knows what? Maybe Parker could have stopped Whyte. So Chisora was winning the fight. He had 2 points taken off him, and he was still ahead on the cards going into the 11th round. So, you know, he'll be looking at Dillian Whyte. He'll be thinking, yeah, he's big, he's strong, he's physical, good body puncher, good. He does a very good catch and counter left hook, so he'll have to watch out from that from Dillian Whyte. But he does throw that jab. He's got long arms, Dillian. He does like to get behind the jab, and he's very good at countering over the jab with his right hand over the top. So I think that's a shot he'll be looking to walk Dillian Whyte onto.
Dillian's got long arms as well, and so he's one of those fighters where he's going to realise how long Dillian's arms are once the bell goes, because he's got an excellent jab, nice snapping, sharp, long jab, and works well on the inside. And his peach of a punch is obviously that left hook. Rivas holds his hands high. He's on his feet. He's an arm puncher, very trim and slim around the body. I wonder if Dillian's going to think about trying to head for the body shots instead of just working on the head.
Do you think it will bother him almost walking into Dillian Whyte's backyard? The O2 has become a second home to Dillian Whyte now.
I don't think so. I think I don't think so. I think he knows that, you know, he boxes out of Canada, but he's from Colombia, so he's very much an on-the-road type of fighter anyway. And I think he knows that Dillian's the house fighter, the A side of the card. But I think he'll revel in that. I think he'll love the underdog status, and he'll be focusing on where this win can put him, and looking at he'll be focusing on the upside of this fight.
First time we're seeing him on the pads, Johnny. What do you make of him?
Sharp, snappy. You know, it reminds me of Lucien Bute when he boxed Carl Froch, and he had a massive reputation, excellent record, and everything. And one of our former colleagues, Glenn McCrory, said, yeah, he's from Canada. You know, he's boxing out of Canada. The competition there isn't the best. It isn't, you know. Let's just see what happens when he gets in there against a potential world champion. And so let's just see it. Let's just see if he is the real deal come Saturday night, and this will be his acid test.
Yeah, I think his record is pretty padded. He hasn't fought a lot of names. You know, Brian Jennings though was a good win. So that also coupled with the fact that he was an Olympian and he was a good amateur, that gives a bit more credibility to the 26-0. So, you know, I've watched a few of his fights. He's very dangerous with that right hand over the top. He's got fast hands. Like I say, he's only 6 feet tall, but he's very solid and compact.
All right, okay, well, we're going to pause now for a break. Afterwards, we will see the man himself, Dillian Whyte, take to the ring.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, making his way to the ring with his head trainer Mark Tibbs, professional record 25 victories, only 1 defeat, 18 big wins, coming by way of knockout, fighting out of Brixton, London, England. Ladies and gentlemen, ranked number 1 in the world by the WBC, Dillian, the Body Snatcher Whyte. Whyte.
So here he is, Dillian Whyte makes his way to the ring. How do you think he's feeling right now?
When he walks in with a frown, no nonsense, thinking I just want to fight, he's just got that like growl about him, and that's what's endeared him to the public. The public like that about him. He's no nonsense, no thrills, and again, I think he'll give us a show.
Well, we heard from Eddie Hearn a few moments ago that it is going to be for the interim title and the mandatory now. Will that give him an extra boost, do you think?
Oh, absolutely, and about time. You know, he deserves it. He's
it's over 600 days.
600 days. You know,
number 1 with the WBC. That's almost 2 years, man.
Oh no, it's outrageous, really, that he's had to wait this long. But look, he's going to get his shot. All going well on Saturday night, which certainly, as we've been saying, is not a given. Oscar Rivas, very, very dangerous. But you know, Dillian, he's in a form of his life. He's been getting better and better with each fight. He's been in some real tough fight, so each time he's learned a lot, he's come back, he's improved, but again he's going to have to put all those tactics and new skill sets that he's learned in these previous fights, it's all going to be put to test again on Saturday night. It's a must-win fight, so much at stake now with the mandatory position being confirmed, so yeah, absolutely, really can't wait now.
One thing Dillian Whyte never does is take the easy road, Johnny. Why is that, do you think?
He reminds me of a young Joe Fraser. Joe Fraser wanted to box everybody and everybody. He just wanted to get in your face. He wasn't interested in anything else but fighting, and that's him.
It's business to him, isn't it?
This is business. It's not about what he earns. It's not about. It's getting a fight in there, getting it, making it even levels when you get in there as well.
Some may question that, Johnny, and say, well, if that was the case, why didn't he fight AJ when he had the chance?
You know what? Maybe he wasn't ready for it at that time. It didn't suit him at that time. That was it. You know,
yeah, because I don't think it was Dillian. I think it was probably the people advising Dillian, that with the business, the suits, that probably advised it. Dillian's proven that he will back himself against anyone. He's gone into 50-50, you know, tough, competitive 50-50 fight, one after the other, when really you could have said, I mean, if I was advising him the last time, I'd have said, take the Joshua fight, and even the one in December when he fought Chisora, I probably would have said, oh, you don't really need that fight, you know, you're going to get your shot, you're mandatory, let's just wait, let's be patient. But he doesn't want to be patient, he wants to be active, he wants to fight, he wants to keep fighting, he wants to build his momentum, he's getting better with every fight, and he just believes that if I keep winning, I'm going to get my shot, and look, that's what exactly is going to happen now.
Well, I sat down with Dillian the other week with Frank Bruno. It's actually, I think, available on demand. You can watch that interview. The two of them spoke really well together. It was a lovely day. And I asked Dillian, actually, the question whether he felt frustrated that he didn't take that option of fighting AJ after the result and the aftermath in New York. Not at all, he says. Doesn't regret it.
Of course, okay, the first time he boxed AJ, he said there was a shoulder injury. So he's saying, everything being right, let's all train the same amount of time, let's all prep the same amount of time, I think I beat AJ. So again, now he gets a second opportunity. So this, again, things aren't right, everything's not even Stevens, they don't both get the same amount of notice. He's still considering it, and right, Matthew's probably right saying it's probably more of his advisors around him saying, look, you know, forget what's in your heart, forget what's in it. This is business, it's show business. Make sure you stick to the business side of it, your time will come. Listen, even though AJ's lost, that fight can still happen. That fight can still happen. So he wants to prove, you know, to the world that he has a beating of AJ. So I kind of get where he's coming from. And I understand his frustration.
You know, I mean, boxing's an ever-changing landscape. It changes fight to fight. Things just move around and change and shift. I think what Dillian's done, looking from the outside, looking in, he's stayed in his lane, he's had his plan, and he's stuck to it.
The patient game.
He's been very patient, like I say, had a plan and stick to it, and that's what he's done. And you know, now it's coming to fruition for him. He's one fight away from getting that mandatory position for Deontay Wilder, assuming Wilder comes through the Ortiz fight. So, you know, credit to him. He's a risk taker, but he keeps backing himself, and so far it keeps paying off. So now he's got one more fight on Saturday night, which is a dangerous fight against an undefeated guy in Oscar Rivas who can bang. But he's got to come through, and if he does, then he's his self-belief and his belief in his plan will have paid off.
That's the thing. Rivas is a dangerous opponent for Dillian Whyte. How important is it for him, for Dillian Whyte, that he doesn't look past Saturday?
He doesn't. He knows it, and he knows how important that is. We've seen that happen, and he actually referred to it himself. We've seen that happen in the past. AJ Ruiz Jr. So he doesn't do that at all. He just wants to fight whoever they put in front of him. If fair's fair, Dillian Whyte should be in a position boxing for a world title. So he doesn't expect the world after this, but the world's got to give him respect to say this guy has done it again. He's gone in there, he's thrown the dice and he's come out drums.
Dillian Whyte is a fighter. Do you think he is someone that if he has a dangerous opponent, he has someone that is going to really challenge him, that brings out the best in him?
Oh, definitely. He's not the slickest, even though he's improving. He's not the slickest, so I think he needs that bit of fear. He needs to be in a fight that, this is a losable fight in order to get the best out of himself. So maybe that's also something that he factors into the moves that he's made. But so far it's paying off for him. Like I say, he wins on Saturday night and he is going to get his shot. He will be mandatory challenger and that will be next. So credit to him, really.
Johnny, you sat down with him, was it a week or so ago? How was he?
Relaxed, confident. I'm looking at him, looking at here. What I saw in the gym, I've seen it here. He has got a very underrated, good jab. A snapping, tough, long, strong arm jab. And before that, he's working on the shots inside. To me, it tells me he's waiting for Rivas to try and come inside. He'll bring him up, box him long. He won't be able to be outboxed. This is going to be all about pace. And if he can control and manipulate the pace of Rivas, it'll work to his plan, what they've been working on. That's what he's got to do.
You think it's all about controlling the pace, Matt? How does he beat Rivas?
Yeah, no, Johnny said bring them up, and I think he has got to bring the shots up. Rivas is short, 6 feet tall. He really bangs that right hand over the top, really loops it over. So, Dillian's kind of honey punch, if you like, has been the catch and counter left hook, as well as his body shots, but he really catches the right hand and counters with a short left hook. But I think with Rivas coming in low, I think he needs to catch and counter with a left uppercut. That's the shot I think that he'll land.
But I wouldn't say go in there with that intention, bring him up. I'd go in, if I was Dillian, go in there, use your attributes,
behind the jab,
use your long jab, use your long reach, and if Rivas happens to get inside, then revert back to plan B, bring him up, push him off, back on the jab again.
But I think that's going to be part of plan A. I think you start off, you dictate behind the jab, but Rivas is going to have to try and counter that jab, and he does loop the right hand over. So when he loops it over, he's open for a short left hook counter, but because he kind of falls in with it and he's short, I think the catch and counter left uppercut will be the shot for him.
What's interesting as well is when Dillian Whyte's involved, we normally see a little bit of back and forth, don't we, in the build-up? But between the two of them, between him and Oscar Rivas, it's been very respectful.
I hear in the gym he's one of these characters where he'll be very professional, he'll get on with the job, but as soon as it comes to getting down to business, he can switch it on. Bad blood does him a favour, it gives him a reason, gives him a drive, but he doesn't need it. He doesn't need it with Rivas. Rivas is coming in there to try and get the win. So I don't think it'll disarm him.
We last saw him in December take on Derek Chisora. Chisora pushed him all the way. It was a close fight right up until the end. What adjustments will we have to see Dillian make for Oscar Rivas?
I just think, Chisora, credit to Chisora, he got on top of Dillian at times. He got up close, and he was probably better at short range than what Dillian was. It was a very competitive fight, very close fight. He was losing though. He needed the knockout to get the win. But I think with Rivas, he'll try and do similar to Derek Chisora. He's got a pretty good jab. He works the body well, but the shot for me, which is the danger shot for Dillian, he's got to watch out for that looping right hand over the top that Rivas throws. But that's also an opportunity to catch and counter with the left uppercut as he comes in. I think that'll be a shot that Dillian will be able to use to really good effect.
Well, he's just finishing having a drink of water. Let's hear what he's got to say. He's with Andy Scott.
Dillian, just days away from fight night. How are you feeling, both physically and mentally?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I feel strong, feel fit. I feel good,
Oscar Rivas, obviously a very dangerous operator. He came out and hit some pads before. Did you catch any of it?
Not really. I saw him throwing a few punches in there, but yeah, he looks strong. He looks big. His arms is dense, chest dense, legs dense, everything dense. He looks good.
What have you and Mark Tibbs worked on to counter that, and what sort of fight can we expect from you?
You know, we just work on the same thing. We just try and get better and better. People forget I had 7 amateur fights. You know, most of my learning is done through sparring. Guys like David Hay, David Price, Klitschko, Cesaro, all of these guys. You know, I fought a couple of these guys, but I was their sparring partner at the start. So most of my learning is learned from training with these guys, you know what I mean? So I'm at high level, I'm still relatively novice, I'm still learning, probably another 30% more improvement to go across the board, fitness, skill, mentally, everything, man. So, you know, we just try and just work on it, keep chipping away at it, man, till we get better and better and better.
What's your reaction to what Eddie Hearn confirmed earlier? The WBC interim title will be on the line. The winner will become mandatory for...
No one didn't tell me that.
No one, well, I'm telling you now. For Deontay Wilder, what's your reaction to that?
What can I say? Finally. Well, let's see, you know, in boxing, don't mean because something says you'll be, don't mean it's going to happen. Boxing is a strange sport, you know. We've been told this was over 600 something days, ain't happened yet, but, you know, I just keep fighting. I just want to give the fans the best fights I can. You know, I could have fought someone else. I could have fought the like of Dimitrenko, Gerald Washington, those kind of guys, and keep busy, but, you know, I'm like, listen, I'm still learning. I want to challenge myself, so we went and picked Oscar Rivas. He's not someone you pick. You know, it's someone you fight if you have to fight him for a world title or as a mandatory challenge, and someone you go and pick. But listen, what the heck? We're in the game to try and make history and try and do the best we can. And these kind of guys, I beat these guys. I'm the piggy banking and their amateur experience and their experience. So I just see it as, listen, another step in the right direction and just keep learning, man.
In that respect, then, is the best Dillian Whyte still to come? Are we still yet to see the best of you, despite great wins over Parker and Chisora in the rematch?
Yeah, definitely, because all of those fights, you know what I mean, I show some inconsistency in some of those fights here and there, you know. I still, the best, I don't know what the best of me look like yet, you know. I just have to keep, even the strength and conditioning guys, they keep saying to me, you don't know your limit. Not even we don't know your limit, you know, because we haven't been there yet. So, you know, there's still probably another 20-30% of improvement left to come across the board. So I'm just, you know, I'm just excited and working, and let's see what happens, man. But the longer these guys leave it, the better I'm becoming, you know.
You're excited. I'm excited. Everyone here is excited. We look forward to it on Saturday night. Wish you all the best of luck.
Well, there is only one way to watch. Top-ranked contender Dillian Whyte puts it all on the line against unbeaten former Olympian Oscar Rivas. There's a packed undercard before the big one as well, with coverage getting away from 6 p.m. Saturday night on Sky Sports Box Office. Sky customers should go to channel 491 or Box Office to book this event. For more information on all the ways to watch, go to skysports.com/Whyte, Virgin Media and Talk customers, please contact your operator. He looks as cool as you like. Dillian Whyte looks as cool as you like.
Very matter of fact about when it was announced that he'd be boxing for the interim title. You know, really? He doesn't get too giddy and excited because he's quite clearly been let down by the WBC so far. So he'll think, you know what, I'll just win the fight. We'll talk about what belts, what trinkets, what jewelry I get after.
Well, it has been an absolute pleasure. What a glorious day it has been. Thank you very much, guys, for your company, and of course to you at home for watching as well. So that is the open workouts done. It's the press conference tomorrow, but make sure you join us on Friday, Sky Sports Action, for the live weigh. And until then, see you then.
Sky Sports. Feel it all.